Entomophagy. What is it? Well, entomophagy is the practice of humans consuming insects. While for many people, aka Westerners, this practice may seem unusual or even gross. But in reality, entomophagy is a valid source of nutrients in over 100 countries, with the consumption of more than 2,300 insect species. Let's learn more about how we are using these insects for food and the culture surrounding entomophagy.
Earlier, we mentioned that over 2,300 species of insects are being consumed, and among all of those species, the most common are from the family Coleoptera, the beetles, followed by caterpillars from Lepidoptera. Species that can be readily farmed include the house cricket, Jamaican field cricket, desert locust, yellow mealworm beetle, the superworm, and many, many more. Now, why exactly are so many people eating insects? While of course there are variety factors like age, species, and the way it is prepared, as it turns out, insects generally tend to be high in energy, protein, amino acids, fatty acids, and many vitamins. They're actually more nutritional than beef and chicken.
Speaking of beef and chicken, not only are insects a better choice in terms of nutrients, but they're also a better choice in terms of the environment. There's actually been a growing movement in recent years for the mass farming of insects, which is referred to as insect farming or many livestock. This movement has even been embraced by some Westerners who know the danger and harm traditional cattle can bring. For instance, production of 1 kilogram of beef uses 250 square meters of land, 15,500 liters of water, and emits 2,850 CO2 equivalents. Compare that to 1 kilogram of migratory locusts, which uses only 40 square meters of land, 2,500 liters of water, and releases 17.72 CO2 equivalents. Additionally, 80% of a locust body can be sold for consumption, double that of a cow. Now, why exactly is it so important that insects are a better option for the environment? While we are aware of the looming threat of climate change, just how bad is traditional meat for the environment? And how are insects able to fix that? Well, currently the world's population is at 7.8 billion, with a 1.2 billion increase in 30 years being predicted. There are already so many people going hungry because we don't have enough food for everyone, and a growing population is only going to worsen that. Additionally, traditional meat leads to environmental degradation. For instance, the Amazon rainforest has seen massive habitat degradation, with 70% of its land being converted into pastures, and the remaining 30% mostly being used for feed crops. It is clear that something must be done, and currently insects seem like humanity's best bet. Even though they are certainly not perfect, for example, land soil needs to be used to grow grains for these insects to eat, which leads to lots of water waste, and though these insects can technically eat organic waste, many Western countries have food restrictions preventing this, and it would only scare off an already wary population. Insects are currently our best and only bet against a growing and warming world.
The main cultures that have been known to practice entomophagy include over 100 countries, mostly found in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. These countries have a plethora of insect inhabitants, thus making entomophagy very accessible and attainable. As gross as this may sound, you might be surprised to know that an average American actually eats around 2 pounds of dead insects and insect parts per year. It's true! Insects are commonly found in foods such as vegetables, beer, and pasta. If that's the case, why don't we include entomophagy in Western cultures similar to other countries? The drastic differences in perception between countries could sadly be rooted in deep-seated biases that Western countries tend to have, and that needs to change. The only question is, how? Western bias can be overcome by educating at a young age. Children have more adaptability in their beliefs, and thus, it will reverse the cultural biases of previous generations. Imagine if you had been introduced to eating insects as a young kid. Do you think then entomophagy would be more common and more familiar in your lives nowadays? Would you consider it gross? At the end of the day, it will not be easy to change such traditional values that have been ingrained in many people's minds. However, hopefully after more people learn about the benefits discussed today, be it from nutritional or environmental, we will hopefully begin to see entomophagy be a more common practice in our homes. So, what are you waiting for? Go find a restaurant serving bugs. We'll see you there.